This is the 321 Cube Organizer from Room Essentials. It's basically a Target house brand. From top to bottom, it is just over 40 inches. So remember that in case you're gonna pick this up and you've got a really small vehicle. And being that this is 35 by 35-ish, a little over that, I'd recommend about a 40 by 40 area to assemble this just flat on a floor, somewhere that you got 40 by 40. To get this together, you will need a blade to cut this open and also a screwdriver. It is a Phillips. Here is the UPC for anyone who is interested. Get it flipped over and just cut it out. Just go ahead and cut the tape. Here is it open. You've got all the pieces. There's the instruction manual and all of that. Go ahead and cut that open. It does have those restraints from the wall, so you can prevent it from tipping over if you're gonna use that. Both sides of this are actually finished. Don't use anything that's powered because you will either strip out the center of the screw or you'll put it in too deep and you will mess this up itself. So don't ever do that. You want to feel it by hand. Go ahead and open up that little package, this here, and make sure you've got everything that you need. I don't generally use these at the very end, but that's my personal preference. The main screws, and then there is the wall piece to hold it so it doesn't tip over. And then these dowels. Turn the page and then you'll be presented with this piece. And what I would do here is go ahead and get everything out and then basically set it up on the floor like this without putting anything actually together as far as screwing it in together. I've gotten everything out, and note that this piece right here that comes in the box, this is not for anything. This is just support when the box is closed. All of these will be labeled. This is D. Put that down first. As you can see, it's right there by itself. And then you grab C and you tilt the C down towards the floor so these slats are towards the floor. I can't do this with two hands and a camera, so bear with me. You turn C over and then slot it into this slot right here. There we go, we've got that on, and that is freestanding. And then you go ahead and you grab F, slide it over, and this, the F is going to go in here. So it will look like this. You basically have these three pieces. You'll have the D, the C, and the F. Right now it's just D and C. But the F, you want to do is lift this right here with one hand and push this under until it hits right there, and then just guide it down. Lift this up a bunch, slide that under, and the other one is not going to fall out. You can lift it high enough to get this one under and then slide it down. We have those down, and that honestly is about the hardest part right there. And you're gonna go ahead and get E, which will be labeled there, and you flip that upside down and place it in there. The G and the A, they have a couple different holes. What you want to do is make sure 4 of them are facing downward, respectively, on their own ones, but the ones with 8 holes are up. And the reason for that is because of the dowels you're going to put in there. On this one, which is the C, you see there are 8 holes, and you want that flush up against there, and it's the 4 holes that you want on the bottom because those are the ones that you're going to be putting screws into. At this point, you want to install G on the bottom. Get these dowels and push one of each into there, and then once you've got all 4 in, you then push this and wiggle it onto there. So I actually screwed up. You're going to want 2 holes on these as well on the bottom. The big one goes into the dowel hole, and that small one is where the screw goes. What I did here is I just allowed for one because I wasn't paying attention. And on this other side, which is the top, this part should be the bottom. So I'm gonna have to take this apart and flip that around. So be sure to make sure that the 2 holes on either side, so 4 total on this F, are facing the floor, because you're gonna need them to match up on this, just like this one does. We've got the 4 in there on the bottom. This one is not all the way in. If you do not have a hammer, just tap it lightly with the bottom of the screwdriver and it'll go in. Put this part right up in there, make sure the holes align, and then slide it in, get it all on there, and then start each screw, and then go around and tighten each one. That's about how far you want them in to start, and then go ahead and tighten all 4 of those down. This side, which is the A side, this is going to take 6 dowels. So you want 6 holes on the outside and 12 on the inside when you put this in. The top does not have it because those top pieces actually slide down into the top. So that side is on, and then we'll go ahead and do the same exact thing to the top, is put those dowels in, 4 of them, and then you can put the screws in here if you want, and then the other one around here is the same idea as the top. And make sure, just like we did with the 2 larger ones, is that the one with the extra holes actually faces the unit itself. The top and that small side piece are all on, and don't worry if it looks like you have run out of dowels, because this part right here in the center, don't freak out and be like, oh no, I'm supposed to get a dowel in there and it's all tight. That one actually doesn't take a dowel. That just sets right on there, and then you just get the 2 screws in there, and then it is complete. It's good to go after you get that part done. There we go, there we have it, and it is all done. There are a couple things to note. One thing I don't really care for is these. Out of all the things I've put together over the years, they always tend to get lost or pop off or break. And this does line up just fine with right here, which is fine. So that part being on the floor, that's good. If you put these white pieces on, that actually elevates this a little bit. So over time, it will ever so slightly sag down. Another thing is you want to be careful putting these on carpet, because if you have screws, and you put them on carpet and you slide them all over the place, you're very likely to rip up the carpet. I would give this thing be an 8 out of 10. It's okay for the money, but some parts don't actually line up. And that's not a me issue, because the holes themselves with the dowels lined up perfectly. So there's really no screwing around with that. It's not flush. It might be just a nitpick on my end, especially for the price, but I don't really care for that. I feel like it should be a little bit more flush than that. 15 pounds a shelf. The assembly isn't too terribly bad. This one you can put forward and back and turn it around, because the finished edge is on all sides. You won't see any unfinished edges once you're done with this. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you out. Have a good one.